I just can't give it up. Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Dazgali, and we're back with another video. So in today's video, we're just basically gonna go over what was wrong with the G35. If you guys watched my last video, you will know that I was having some issues with the G35. It wasn't starting. Before I got the no start issue, I was having a misfire problem. In the past couple weeks, I've been kind of busy with work, so I haven't really had the time to dig into this car. But I did find the time a couple days ago to actually figure out what the issue was. So I read every single one of your comments on my last video, and I tried a whole bunch of different things, and I finally found out exactly what the issue was. So the first problem that we had with this was the no start issue, and that ended up being a fuse. That ended up being the ignition and accessories fuse right there. It was a 15 amp. Now the weird thing about it was when the car actually stalled and wouldn't start, it was just idling really rough. It had a really bad misfire. The check engine light was flashing. So I don't know if that fuse blew as, like, you know, kind of I guess a safety device to stop you from damaging the car. But I ended up changing the fuse, and I was able to get the car started, but it still had a misfire. I was able to let the car run enough for the check engine light to come back on. So when the car initially stalled, it had a P0302, which was a cylinder 2 misfire. But when I changed the fuse and I got it started back up, it actually had a P0300, which it was a random multiple misfire, I think. So like I said, I ended up reading pretty much all the comments on the last video that I posted, and I got a lot of good suggestions, and I pretty much started from the top and worked my way down, which I probably could have went about it a little bit better, maybe calculated my moves a little bit. But first thing that I ended up changing, obviously, was the coil pack. Now I changed the cylinder 2 coil pack because I figured that's where the misfire was initially. Didn't change anything. Then I ended up changing the MAF sensor. That didn't change anything. Then I ended up changing the camshaft position sensor on this side because it was the easiest to get to. On the driver's side, it's really a tight squeeze, so I didn't want to have to change that one unless I had to. I also checked underneath the battery. I also ended up checking underneath the battery because I heard that water can get in behind the cowl here when it drains off the windshield and get in here and short out your computer, which I believe is underneath there, as well as your wires run along the backside. That didn't change anything. There was nothing in there that I really could see that could be an issue. And then what I figured I would do is throw in new spark plugs. Now I ended up having a used set from this car from the last time I changed my spark plugs before we went in to get the tune. Threw those in, and it actually ended up fixing my issue. I let the car idle for about, I don't know, a half an hour of taking it for a rip around the block. And the car is actually running pretty good right now. Now, with that being said, I am going to have to go out and get some new plugs anyways, a few steps colder, because hopefully in the next couple of videos, we're going to be out with this car running the Nitrous. Now, I heard that the track has been pretty busy as far as the quarter mile goes, and I'm getting to the point with this car where I realize that quarter mile wise, it's not really going to be doing anything that's overly exciting for this car, but I do want to get it out to run a couple times with the Nitrous. And then I think I would like to do some lapping before the season is over. But what I think I'm going to end up doing is running the Nankangs on the track. These are pretty sticky, and I feel like for drag racing, they weren't really the best setup. But for track racing, they might be a nice addition to complement the car's overall power. Now, luckily for me, I've parted out quite a few VQs in the past couple of years. I parted out my old winter beater, parted out the SER, and I also parted out that black 6th gen 6-speed Maxima. So I had a bunch of used VQ parts. I had spare MAF sensors, coil packs, the camshaft position sensor. I even had the driver's side one as well. Luckily didn't have to cross that bridge. So yeah, once again, having a horde of car parts helped quite a bit in this one. And I saw a post, and I did see a post on Facebook that said a parts car is worth its weight in gold. And I 100% agree with that, because we were able to do some trial and error here with different spare parts that I had kicking around. I was able to narrow everything down, and we fixed the issue. So next thing I got to do is throw everything back together. Took off a few of the panels here. I did at one point think it was maybe the wiring for the nitrous system, so I took apart a few panels inside the car, and I did pop the rear seats off because I did want to check if maybe it was a fuel pump issue. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video, say thanks to everybody for all your suggestions. Really, that was kind of the reason I wanted to make the last video that I put out on this. Because obviously, I do have a big VQ following on YouTube, so I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of insight from you guys. But with that being said, I think that's going to be the end of the video. Going to throw some new plugs in this bad boy, and then we're going to be ready to rock and roll. So as always, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. We're going to catch y'all mofos in the next one, man. Peace!